Yo, yo, yo. I just got back my COMC order from cards that I'd just been purchasing over the last year or so. Um, and I just wanted to share those with you really quick. So, for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been sending cards into COMC uh, and just accumulating, credit basically with them. Just finding cards at shows, autographs, relics, high numbered vintage tops, stuff like that I can find a good deal on. I send that in, and over time it sells, and it's just been pretty fun. And I've got not a lot invested into it. I'll go to a card shop and spend 150, and then I'll turn that 150 into 300 and just kind of keep racking it up. But I've been buying cards, and I wanted to get those back, so here they are. This is kind of a mishmash of a whole bunch of stuff, so if something isn't your thing right off the bat, hopefully something else will perk your interest later on. I'm going to try to keep this to under 20 minutes. So, but starting off, I'm just going to go with these music cards. I got these 3 of Green Day here, and I actually got multiples of these 3 cards because I wanted to kind of inspect them for my personal collection, get these slabbed to go along with a little bit of a Green Day collection that I have. I love this band. They were huge when I was in high school, and and just it's kind of fun to celebrate other type of cards instead of just constantly focusing on baseball, or football, which is my main stuff. So I've got these 3 here, and then I also have this sticker, and so I got that. I got 2 of those, and I couldn't tell on the edges which one looked better. They were both pretty much similar centered. This one I kind of picked out. It does have a little bit of I don't know if I can pull this up a little bit, but you can see it's got like a little hanging from the cut there. At any rate, I think I'll send that in. I did send in a similar card to that you'll see here momentarily. A couple of Ramones cards. Here's Marky Ramone, that's signed, and then it's like a memorabilia card, which I think is probably jeans, which would make sense. And then these Richie Ramones cards, who was the drummer after Marky, and then also before Marky because he left the band and came back. So, also Richie is the best drummer of the Ramones, probably. So I got those 2, and then if you've watched my other videos, you know that I love Matt Hoffman, so I picked up those. This one here, I've got a couple of these. One was like a promo. The other one was more of a base. This one is the promo. I don't know if it says... press proof on the back. So that's the one that is. And then the signed card through... I thought this was Leaf, but Sport Kings. So got those, and then moving along, I got these 2 rock cards that are WWF, his rookie cards, with the red background, prone to chipping. I kind of want to look into seeing if these are worth grading or not. Anybody who's got any previous experience with these, if you want to drop a comment, go right ahead. But I'll do some digging, and some stuff I have sent into COC, and I will be showing that here momentarily. But other stuff I just didn't want to take any chances just blindly sending it off without seeing it first. So got those. Next up is the Sports Illustrated for Kids Mario Lemieux. This is actually the first card of the first series of Sports Illustrated for Kids. So there's some historical value in there, I believe. But pretty cool card, and I do like Sports Illustrated for Kids. If you've watched previous videos, you know that my dad would get these sent to his office, and he would just pull the pages out for me and save all the cards, and I had them forever. So I have the Tiger Woods, I've got the Serena Williams, I've got the Venus Williams. I had Tony Hawk, but as a kid, I took that out and... pinned it to my bulletin board thinking that these weren't going to be worth anything. My sister had the Mia Hamm card. She did the same thing. And so so those aren't those are gone. But this one's pretty cool. So I have that. Next up, I got this Griffey Upper Deck. This is from when he first wanted to celebrate Jackie Robinson Day. And I believe that him, Bud Selig, who was commissioner at the time, and Rachel Robinson spoke together about how Ken Griffey Jr. wanted to honor Jackie Robinson by wearing his number on his day. And now everybody in baseball wears it every single year. So pretty cool. And it was cool that it was Griffey that did it, and not, a lesser known player, I suppose. Griffey was in the prime of his career, and pretty good tribute to Jackie Robinson. Then up, we've got these Topps Now cards, Ichiro's 3000th hit, and then this card here of when Corbin Burns and Josh Hader combined for a no-hitter for the Brewers. Personally, I was hoping that Burns would go out for the 9th and get it, but Craig Counsell's a terrible manager, and I'm glad he's with the Cubs. So, whatever, they can deal with his bullpen mishaps now, and they have been in the last, 6 weeks or so. So, moving on. No hard feelings, obviously. This Luis Pena, this is a paper Bowman first, and it's out of 175. I picked this up for like $12, but he's climbing up pretty quick, and him and Jesus Made are both kind of working the ranks together. Made just got called up to Double-A. I'm not sure if Pena's right behind him or not, but I'm hoping so. And as he gets closer, I'm probably going to flip this. I was thinking about getting it graded, but there is a little bit of chipping and whatever, so I think I'll just hang on to it raw and not worry about it. I sent in a similar Self Relic, and it came back as a 7, so I'm not going to really take my chances with that and do that again. I'd rather just sell it raw, and hopefully, someone will pull the trigger and I'll make a couple bucks off of it. Finally, for the raw cards here, before we get into the graded stuff, I have this quad swatch of Robin Yount, Prince Fielder, Ricky Weeks, and J.J. Hardy. Pretty cool card. I'm not even sure what year this is. I'm assuming it's probably 07. Otherwise, potentially, or maybe even earlier, because otherwise Ryan Braun would probably be on the card. He was Rookie of the Year when he came up. So, but to have, a Hall of Famer and then 3, Brewers grades from that era of 08 to, 2012, or 06, I suppose, to 2012, brought the Brewers back to relevancy. So, cool card, and I'm glad I have that one. So, moving on to some graded stuff. So, we're going back into music cards. I sent in these 3 through COMC, and more personal collections type stuff. But this first one is a Spanish card from 1997 Ultra Vegas Rock, and so I just showed you the raw sticker of this, but here's the pink one that's an actual card, and it's pretty awesome. It's I don't know, I think it pops really well, and it's fun and whatever. And again, I love Green Day. I was checking pop counts on these next couple, and there's like nothing out there. I think there's one other 8 on here and maybe a 7. So nobody's sending these in. And not that it's going to make it like a extraordinary valuable card or anything, but it's cool to have, and low pop count cards are fun to have, especially like oddball stuff like this. Next up, same thing. This is a 1980. I don't even know where this is from. Initially France or something, but this Ramones card, a little bit smaller than I actually anticipated it to be when I bought it, but really cool. It's a 3. It doesn't matter. I've looked at a bunch of raw cards of this. They don't pop up very often. A lot of times there's paperback or paper loss on the back. This one actually looks, pretty good. So Yeah, pretty stoked for it. San Juan looks like so, but cool drawing. Really into that, and Ramones are among my favorite bands of all time, as is the Clash. I bought this one and just opted to send it in raw because I didn't really care what the grade would be because I knew there was it was such a low pop count. This is the only I've got one other 9 that I submitted. I left that one at COMC, kept this one, and I think there might be one other one. But again, nobody's sending these in, and I got this card. I think all in with grading, I'm in for $30 or something. So for any card from 78, you can get back as a 9. I'll take it, especially for a band that I love. So moving on then. So with my credit stuff, again, if you've watched my videos, you know that I got back into collecting after inheriting my stepdad's collection, and then I had a bunch of Hall of Famers, but I was just trying to build Milwaukee Braves sets, and I got really away from that for a while, but I wanted to just see what I could find online one night, and since I had the credit, it's kind of like, free money and whatever. I did find 4 1959 Topps cards. I was building this set in an 8, and when those cards were 30, maybe $40. Those have all jumped, so I don't need to spend $100 on a card that just to build a set. These 7s all look nice, and these were in the same range as as the 8s that I was buying 10 years ago or whatever, before I really slowed down on that. So pulled those 4 up, really put a nice little dent into my collecting of that year. I haven't even started on 60, 61, 2, 3, or 4 or 5, and as those years get higher, there's more cards. So this is definitely going to be a labor of love type project, and I don't know. I think I should probably focus on trying to get a card, a few cards here and there, and then if I get into a rhythm or whatever, maybe fall into some extras and whatever. But, there's just so many other things that I'm into right now, so it makes it difficult. Next up, I'm buying cards of players who, I feel like will be in the Hall of Fame. They're rookie cards. So Paul Goldschmidt, I think he'll get in eventually. I think Francisco Lindor is almost a no-brainer. He's getting closer. Slide these over in the middle a little bit more. Ohtani's already in. I can't see how he would be left out at all. So I picked up those 3, and then let's see, what else do we got here? Oh, these autographs, another Matt Hoffman signed card, and then to go along with my Hall of Fame signed rookie card collection, this Pedro, and Pedro's my favorite pitcher, so I was excited to get that one. So pulled the trigger on that, and I think that was maybe one of the first ones I got when I started just looking more at graded cards. We're gonna move right along here. As I showed in my last video, I was building this Jackson Chourio Topps Now set. This one I pulled from COMC, so I have that one to go along with the rest of them, and I think I got to double check, but I think that set's completed now. So nice to have that. Even if he doesn't become, a Hall of Famer or whatever, right now he's a pretty integral part of the team, and they are in first place. And oh my God, we were just talking about this today, that they need to get out of that first round. So if they can get the bye, that might, kill some demons off for them. Then I got this Josh Hamilton rookie card. So, this guy's story is pretty wild, and I think he's had some issues since he retired, but the growth of his arc from, drug addiction to getting back into baseball to becoming an MVP, and then his body just kind of broke down, in his early mid-30s, and he had to retire. And since then, I think he's had a couple of issues, but, it's a great hitter, and, it's a guy that I still root for and hope to hear that, maybe he gets into coaching or something along those lines. And, and again, just get back into baseball some way to keep him clean. I subbed to this card, and I just love how that looks. Somebody else, there was another video where a guy was just showing cards that he just loved how the photo looked, and this Nolan Arenado's incredible. He's hitting a home run. He's looking at the scoreboard. He's up on the scoreboard. The catcher can see that it's gone. It's a refractor. Looks super nice. And just overall, this is like the kind of art you look for in baseball cards, I suppose. And I'm just really, really stoked that they pulled a 10 and I got it back. So that one's been sitting at COMC for probably a couple of years now. Sub this one as well. This Bob Uecker 78 Braves TCC. They put out like a team set of their best players and whatever. And at that point, Ueck was doing commercials and stuff, and so I think that's why they added him in there, because of his personality, because his career wasn't great. So that came back as a 7. I actually have another one at PSA right now, so I'm going to see which one grades higher, keep one, flip one, sell one off, whatever. And then picked up a couple Hank Aaron cards. So I've got this 75 SSPC that came back, or that was in a 9 that I found on there for, I think it was like $60. Oddball card, but I don't know. Again, it's Hank Aaron. It's in the 70s. It's a 9. I don't know what, I'm not going to sit around waiting for a 10, and whatever, and who knows how much that would go for. And then this 76 Topps in an 8, and this was his last card, as a player. So, nice looking card. You can tell he looks older, but it's well centered, and big fan of that. And so I'm just kind of chipping away at that Hank Aaron run. I exhibited some of those cards in my last video, if you want to go check that out, if you missed those. And then, I have one more here of Hank Aaron here. This one is cool. This is from his 76 Crane potato chip discs, also in a 9. I don't know how these were inserted if they were in a bag, if they were in a box. No idea how they were distributing potato chips back in 1976, but pretty sweet. The design on here is really great. I'll flip it over here in a second, and just like that logo is pretty fun. So again, anything in an 8, in a 9 from that era, and it's Hank Aaron. I mean that was under $100. So it's just kind of nice to add to my collection there. It is a much bigger, that'd be like if you were to submit a index card, that's what it would look like. You'd get it back in that same size slab. So, and then I'm going to rifle through these here real quick, because I wanted to keep this to 20 minutes. We're at 19 now. So, Hall of Fame rookie cards. Roberto Alomar. Not very exciting, but, if I'm going to try to get them all, this one was like, I don't know, $40 or whatever. Jeff Bagwell. And for these multiple cards, I tried to look up and just kind of see what was, the most desired of their rookies here. So, that Todd Helton, Team USA. And then the Randy Johnson Upper Deck. This is one, I kind of talked about this in my last video, but it's, I don't know, $7,500, whatever it is. It's not worth sending in to get graded if you're going to try to get a 10. If you're going to be happy with a 9, it's going to be like a $12, $15 card. So I don't know why even risk that. Just, instead of setting 4 in and trying to hit on 1, if they all come back as 9s, you're toast. Just put all that money that you put into grading and just buy 110 and be happy with that. That's my tidbit for the day. And then this Barry Larkin glossy Fleer. I've had my eye on this card for quite a long time, and it looks super great. Finally found one and was like, I just need to get this, and so I'm glad I snagged it when I did. And then the last Hall of Famer here from the ones that I picked up was this Sabathia Bowman Chrome. Looks super nice, and pretty happy about that. The last card that I did get was the biggest of all of them. Pretty iconic, insert set. It's not the Griffey, but I do love Canseco. And so I found this in a 9. Looked up comps, and COMC is not always... Things are overpriced. You can't really haggle with people if they just set a price. You can try to put an offer in, and then they can decline if they want, but there's no communication. It's just, a yes or no type thing. So I did find this one at what I felt was a good price, and, pulled the trigger. And, with some of these 90s insert sets and things like that, I'm usually just looking for one card, and so this is going to be the one. I showed that with that Griffey Skyline set last time. I'd love to have, one really nice card from the Desert Shield set, stuff like that. So, going to end it on that one. Let me know if there was one card or 2 cards or whatever in particular that stood out to you that, caught your interest. Feel free to like and subscribe, leave a comment about other things. Other than that, that's all we got. Collect what you love. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.